of the year.
I know, but
I mean,
you really don't have a,
well, I think for the
an
short term,
option.
she can
Right.
post it at the police station. I don't think the state's gonna take any action on any municipality at this point.
That's all I would do.
I wouldn't go
Investigate
put it
how to
outside.
get it up on the web, because
Right.
I think that's.
Yeah.
I'm looking at
appropriate
that.
place.
If it's at the police station, you know, you run into the issues of, you know, it's on my way home, so I can do this pretty readily on a regular basis. But if I have to have my staff do it too, then there's their time, and there's, you know, perhaps travel issues. You know, so you're talking about, you know, this turning into attaining a life of its own,
Right.
basically.
Yeah, that's my fear.
I mean, did you consider doing just a test run, just put something out there and just?
No, I have no way of doing that without having a platform or a case. You know, there's nothing to put it on. It would have to be accessible to the handicap. It would have to be under the cover for protection, under the lights. And then, like I said, if that was the long-term solution, then you have to consider the maintenance of the walkway, you know,
In the winter
through
months.
snow and ice issues, and if lights go out, just different logistics for
Pick
outdoor.
up, people coming with their gloves all wet, pick up the, you know,
Right.
it's just,
Oh, it's just right for
no one's
disaster.
thought through this at
No.
all.
No.
It kind of
There's
just
no
landed
good
in our
solution.
laps
Yeah.
too.
They dealt with this for a
Comply
state
with.
issue, not a local issue.
I'll go on record as saying that the geniuses in our legislature need to go back to
I
school.
won't argue with you, Bob.
Good.
So that's where we're at now. Just wanted to make you
Mm-hmm.
aware of that. The conversation has taken place today with virtual town hall to try to find an easy fix. You know, I have a multi-purpose copier that scans, and we're trying to address that. If we had, you know, one send address, would they accept that? Because they have certain security issues too about leaving it open.
Right.
You know, but if it was coming from a known send address and going up to our website where we have one avenue, one box there that says meeting notices, outside of each board and committee, separate meeting notice area, then what I'm looking for is just something that people can just, like, I told them maybe hit a forward arrow, next, 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 so that these will just go forward, and that they could be viewed hopefully rather quickly, because there really would be no way to organize them alphabetically or by board or committee. So it would really be kind of like the same thing as a monitor that just has a rotating screen, no different.
Barbara, what are the requirements regarding actually filling out a meeting schedule? Could that be electronic form only?
I'm not going to say no to that. The downside of that is if email is down, or for some reason it comes to me and not my staff, then the 48-hour requirement may not be met for a board or committee.
Which
So
may
that's
be
the
email.
downside of electronic filings. We've always required boards and committees to come in person. We can be assured that they've gotten their room number. We look at the meeting notice to make sure, check against our calendar, that the day and the date are correct, that a time is in place. I actually revised the notice itself to separate those items, because we often get meeting notices with the wrong day, no day of the week, no time, and have to make follow-up phone calls to find out what was the intent of this.
Are you still permitted to have multiple meeting dates on one piece of paper?
You could have that, as long as within 48 hours of each
Right.
one of those, you post an additional agenda for that meeting.
Yeah.
It will, you know, I'd like to steer you
That
clear
sort
of that
That
for
sort of
our
eliminates
purposes.
that altogether, I would guess, right?
But, you know, it can be done just to give people a notice of when a particular board or committee would meet next, but they still would have to file an agenda within 48 hours of the actual meeting.
I mean, I think it's really important that we continue to post these meetings in as much as in advance as possible. And the committee members have to take that responsibility. The chairman of those committees have to take the responsibility to get those listed topics.
Yeah, but now it's another step, because now she's got to attach an agenda
For the meeting notice.
to a
Right.
meeting notice.
So what's the
That's why we
topics?
tried to
Not an
revise
agenda.
this to have.
No, right,
everything
but it has to-
included.
No,
It
but
has
let's
to be
say I
attached
fill
to
that
a
out,
certain-
Barbara, and I
Yeah.
put 15 meeting dates on there. Right.
We're not going to refuse any meeting notices. We will advise everybody of the requirements.
No,
of
but
the
Yeah.
let me
But it's not
finish.
that
So
much.
now, you know, 48 hours before each meeting, or with a little more notice, presumably, you've got to then attach
Mhm.
to that document, a meeting notice,
Correct.
and then you've gotta do it again and again and again and again.
Correct.
Yeah,
It's-
more work.
It's more work, and it's also, you know, you have
And
this
you will-
meeting notice, and now you're gonna staple something to it or whatever.
But you
you
should
know,
still,
and by the time you staple the fifth one to it, the thing's falling apart,
It's tattered.
torn, tattered.
but I don't think we should discourage people booking long-term, even a year's worth of meetings. They can go ahead and do that, but the postings still have to be posted.
Well, I'm just trying to find out what other changes have gone into effect here, Michael.
I mean, as I said, we're certainly not gonna refuse anything, even if it comes in for one particular day with no agenda. It's not up to us to refuse it. You know, we will post it in accordance with the law, but we will advise the person posting
be
it that they're not in compliance, and we'll make a notation on the notice that that person has been so advised.
Okay. Any other questions for Barbara?
Yeah, a quick question. Our meetings are scheduled for the first and third of every month, so that's edged in stone, that's recorded. The only thing that's not on there is whatever the topics are going to be, correct?
Or Tuesday.
Now, I'm sorry?
Or Tuesday.
On Tuesday, yeah, right.
Or a third meeting?
Barring,
Yeah.
you know, exceptions, that's pretty much, is our policy, town policy and bylaw. With the committees, many times they select their own nights and then they try to go forward from there. If they, gave you that, their schedule's gonna be the third Monday of every month, or Tuesday of every month, you know, from here on in, okay, until otherwise notified, then really all they have to do is give you the notes, to follow up with the notes for the upcoming meeting, because it's already been announced.
Announced in what format? On a meeting notice?
Right, if they
Or
give you a meeting notice that
here?
they're gonna be meeting, every third Tuesday of the month, like we do first and third on Mondays, all right? If they do that,
Then we have a spot in the binder at the police station for meetings that will overlap in months. The very first tab at the police station, I didn't put one in here because this is just one I threw together for you to see. But the first tab is meeting notices that will cross multiple months, such as that. And then within each month, if that board or committee supplied us with the agenda, it'll go in that monthly slot. You know, we're trying to think it out as we go, and we certainly aren't going to refuse
No.
anything.
No, but right now, the way we do, for example, FAC, I book 6 months in advance. I fill out one of those meeting notices, just one of them, and I write down every date that I worked out through Karen. I get everyone down, and that's what's posted.
right,
So, I mean, you can continue to do that. The challenge is, like we just talked about, is getting a list of topics attached to it 48 hours in advance of the posted meeting.
right.
That's the challenge. But nothing else really changes from the process.
So, let me understand, we need to post 7/24, but now we can't count Saturdays.
Right,
Right.
Correct?
right, which,
Yeah.
Makes no sense.
no,
Especially if, yeah, you want that
Right.
24/7.
You have 24/7
notice.
access.
Why
What does
did
it
they
matter?
do that?
Yeah.
I don't
No
know.
date matters.
You know?
Okay,
One of the other issues with this new change too is in the matter of minutes, if you read my memo too, that now all documents and, anything
Any-
that's presented at a meeting becomes a part of the minutes. They must be listed in the minutes and actually becomes part of the record of the minutes.
Barbara,
Can you have it on electronic copy, though? Do you need the actual document? Can it be an electronic copy?
You know, it's on a disc or something. It would be my suggestion that it be printed out and maintained somewhere in case, you know, there's a need to view it. It doesn't
No,
have
I-
to be maintained with the minutes, but it must be maintained by that board and committee somewhere where it's accessible. But a listing of the documents have to be provided.
we'll be
so there's
filling
gotta
this
be a
one.
file basically that ties back to a
Yeah.
meeting date.
Yeah, yeah, at the least.
Then down the
It would-
road,
it
that's
would
storage
be
issues and so
worthwhile to
forth.
discourage people from bringing things
No,
that are too big.
But I don't think electronic filing is an issue, right? I mean, my understanding is you can take all the data that was presented, scan it in if that's the process, and then have that posted, which is supposed to be posted now on our website, right? The minutes?
The minute, it's optional. That's not a requirement of the open meeting law.
But that would
is an option.
satisfy though, right? If we did that, if we scanned it all in and
If you
then gave.
scanned any documentation in, and yes,
And
because it's
posted it.
already in
That
a
would work.
printed format at that point, it's a PDF, basically, right? Yeah. So that's fine.
People can go to the website and there it all
So
is.
But
somebody
it-
comes in with a
maintaining it
large,
on the website is outside.
Well, that's the
Map or
prior, that's not
something,
good.
right, so-
Right, how do you, right, that's not gonna
I
work.
missed your last comment regarding,
Posting any of the minutes together with all of the supporting documentation that was presented is in addition to what's required under
Yep.
the law. That's just for the convenience of the public
Yep.
to view. But it still must be maintained physically.
And the
The
committee,
website won't suffice.
and the
for
committee
that.
chairperson has to take that responsibility, correct?
That the chairman definitely should be responsible for that.
That's the one of the most,
Clerk.
well,
in the case of the
ultimately-
Board of Selectmen.
yeah, that's fine, but
I
ultimately,
mean,
the
recording
chairman has to make sure it
secretaries
gets
must be
done.
aware of it, so that they list all of the documentation in the minutes. And then, but the maintenance, it's really up to the board and committee, and of course, the
Yeah.
chairman is in charge of the board and committee.
That's right. You
So
just-
to make sure that the rules are followed.
Right.
If the delegation goes to the recording secretary, that's fine, but it is up to the
Mhm.
chairman basically to make sure that that's followed.
Any other
I
questions for
agree.
Barbara?
Good.
Well, yeah, I thank you very much for,
Thank goodness they
putting the time
simplify
and
things.
effort
I
to
know.
Thank
sort
goodness they-
through all
I
this
love
stuff.
love it when they simplify things for us.
Yeah,
I
right.
will keep you gentlemen posted. I will
But
tell
I think, I would hope that the Town Clerks Association, and I think we will get in touch with our legislation and
Right.
say,
Yeah,
some of
just-
this is
we have tried.
totally off the
All
wall.
the towns feel the same way we do.
cumbersome. It's just,
It's very, very overwhelming to us, this new law.
It's not the issue of being a little more transparent, right, and providing more information. It's the craziness of it.
Right, right.
Oh, I had the opportunity to talk to Robert Nasger, who was the Attorney General's person that's responsible
Yeah,
for
the
this.
director of the new division of open government.
And he said to everybody in this forum, this will not cost towns more money. We made sure that when we put this together, it should not cost you more money. But Sean, you
Was
brought
he
up a
s-
very good example about when these things get documented, they have to run around and get them posted.
Oh, yeah.
That's money.
And we
Right.
tried to explain that to the
Anything that you
CFO
have to
ourselves.
then log and tie into,
So I kind of laughed at him about that one, but him and I just agreed to disagree on that particular
No,
point.
no sense of reality,
No.
Yeah.
unfortunately,
But there
coming
will
from.
be,
another
there will be
funded
an
mandate.
open period for input still on these rules and regulations. So when I get the link, I'll forward that information to you gentlemen too. Certainly I'm going to have some input. I saw something else today as I was reading it that seemed open-ended to me that involves the town clerk's office. So, there are still issues.
However you think we can help in terms of that regard, don't hesitate, because I just
I
think this
won't.
is,
I appreciate it, I appreciate it. For now, you'll find the binder at
Extreme.
the police station, and, virtual town hall realizes that this is a critical issue that we're trying to look at. If there's any cost to it, of course, we'll run it by anybody. I'm hoping that it's just some mailbox up on their end that they can direct directly to our website that these notices could go to, and then we would be at least in full compliance at that point.
so Barbara, let me just understand one thing. Town clerk, when they receive a meeting notice, stamps it, becomes official at that point in time,
Correct.
right? But the agenda itself is just some additional information that anyone can put up at any time.
The agenda is supposed to be the chairman's also, the.
Okay, but,
Yep,
List of
Right.
topics.
within, no later than the 48
yeah, within the
hour
time
period.
frame. But it's
Correct.
not something that you have to date stamp.
We would date stamp it because it is required within no less than 48 hours
It
from the
is.
meeting.
So you would
it will
be-
be considered,
Okay, so that has to come through your office
Correct.
too?
Oh,
Okay.
yeah.
correct.
All right.
Yes.
It doesn't have to be a full-blown agenda. That's
No,
it.
no,
You're not
no.
precluded from putting other things on if things come up.
And just for the people at home, when you say virtual town meeting,
Town
that's
hall.
the software that we run our website through.
That is our web.
Just wanna
Yes,
make
it's
sure.
the
our
hosting
webmaster,
service.
yeah.
All right, Barbara, I
All right.
promised to
Thank you.
move this meeting along.
No,
We're
I'm
already.
sorry, I took.
No,
your
not
time.
your
No
fault.
apology required.
Thank you, gentlemen.
Thank you.
Thank you.
The next item on our agenda is the minutes of, do we have
I don't
minutes?
think we have any.
We don't have any.
No minutes.
No minutes. Correspondence, yellow sheets, pass them down to Allison. You want anything? Anyone here for public comment? RMLD Plan 1922 Parker Drive, continued. Mr.
Brian Smith from Reading Lane.
Brian?
We're looking to relocate 2 3-inch conduits from pole 11 Parker Drive, into the Robin Road subdivision to, finish off the Newton underground subdivision.